Folklore is a part of the way a culture survives. It encompasses the customs, traditions, beliefs, and stories of a community, and is passed down through the generations in order to make sure members of that culture understand where they came from, so that they can make their culture part of where they are going. Folklore has brought us a wide range of characters, from King Arthur to John Henry, but it is also the source of some of the most frightening creatures ever conceived. A culture filled with some of the most terrifying figures is the Navajo tribe, or as they prefer to be called, the Dene. Hello, I'm Andrew Boyd, and though I have seen creatures that would make nightmares seem like dreams while trapped in this lifeless void, today I will instead be telling you about the top 5 scary creatures from Dene folklore. Obviously, these tales are not from my culture, and I will try my best, but if my pronunciations or other details are lacking and you're a member of the tribe, please feel free to correct me in the comments below. If this video does well, we will likely make a part 2, exploring the folklore of another indigenous tribe. With that out of the way, let us begin with a bit of background information. 4 of the 5 creatures featured on this list are members of the Anai, or the alien gods. Legend says that these creatures came into being when the men and women of the tribe separated after a dispute. Not having men around to satisfy them, the women began using various objects that they found, such as smooth stones, antlers, and feathers, to satisfy themselves. This resulted in the women of the tribe becoming pregnant with monstrous creatures, who took on the characteristics of whatever item was used to father them. Upon their births, their mothers abandoned them in terror, and they went on to terrorize the tribe, until the mythical hero, Nyanesgani, set out to rid the world of the monsters. There were 7 different creatures, but the 4 most terrifying of them make up the bulk of this list. Number 5, the Rolling Rock. Tesei Nagahi, otherwise known as the Traveling Stone or the Rolling Rock, was the result of his mother using a stone for relief. He was an enormous round boulder that would wait for members of the tribe to come by before hurling itself at them. If it saw someone in the distance, it would chase them in a relentless pursuit, not stopping until it had run them over, crushed them, and killed them. Nyanesgani knew about the Rolling Rock's tactics and used his mystical colored knives to stack the odds in his favor. As he approached the rock's lair, he planted his black knives in the ground. As he got closer, he planted his blue knives and his yellow ones in the intervals during his approach. When the traveling stone saw the hero, he took off after him, hoping to crush and kill him. As it rolled over the knives, slivers of itself were sheared off, with each different fragment becoming a new pigment. The stone from its bones became white rock, its flesh blue pigment, its hair black, its blood red, and yellow ochre coming from its intestines. Nyanesgani used his lightning arrows, which were a gift from the sun god, to chase the Rolling Rock all the way to the San Juan River, taking off pieces as he went, making the rock unrecognizable. The creature begged for mercy and promised to remain in the rivers where it would keep the mountain springs open so that the Dene could have fresh water. Nyanesgani agreed, and the stone took on the form of an otter with buffalo horns, known as the Water Monster, who was a well-loved and friendly creature from that point on. Number 4, the Evil Eyes. The B'nai Ahani were the result of their mother's unnatural practice with a cactus, which may be the scariest thing on this entire list. They were limbless, round creatures with a tapering end who stayed in the location where they were abandoned by their terrified mother. You know, because of the lack of limbs. They had depressions in their heads that looked like eyes, but they were the definition of if looks could kill, as they could shoot lightning out of them to shock and kill their prey. They used Magpie as their spy, and together the 2 creatures had offspring of a similar make and disposition. Nyanesgani prepared for battle with the B'nai by bringing his armor and a large bag of salt. He found the twins and their offspring and was attacked. They tried to hit him with their lightning, but the hero's armor deflected it. He threw the salt in a fire, and the resulting sparks blinded the creatures, allowing him to attack. In some versions he killed the creatures, and in others he transformed them into cacti, but he spared 2 of the children. He decided to make them useful to his people, and turned one into a screech owl whose job it was to warn the Dene of future events and imminent dangers. He transformed the other into a whippoorwill in order to make things more beautiful and the earth more happy. Number 3, the Kicking Monster. When Set Ahatsitali was born, his mother was so disgusted with him that she took him to a cliff where she put him in a hole which she covered with a stone. But he escaped and survived on the cliffside. He had no head, having only a long pointed end where it should have been. It had long, powerful legs and long hair that grew into the rock, anchoring him to the cliffside. He had several monstrous children of his own who would wait at the bottom of the cliff to be fed fed. The cliff was near an assortment of fruiting cacti, so many people would come by hoping to get something to eat. As they walked the cliffside, the creature would wait with his legs folded up until the passerby tried to pass in front of him. At that point, he would kick the traveler off the side, where they would tumble down to the bottom, where they would be ruthlessly devoured by the kicking monster's children. When Nyanesgani found him, he was prepared, and as he passed the strange creature, he was able to dodge its kick. The hero asked the creature why he was trying to kick him, and the monster insisted that it was just stretching its legs. It then tried to kick him 3 more times. There is some variation in the versions of this story that I found. In one, the hero is kicked off the cliff and loses his weapons, but is able to grab the monster by the hair and push him down the cliff while saving himself. In another, he dodges all the kicks, stabs the monster to death, cuts the anchoring hair, and sends him down the cliff where he is devoured by its hungry children, who the hero transformed into sheep, owls, turtles, or buzzards depending on the telling. Number 2. Yeitso. With a name meaning big monster, you knew this one was going to be bad. Yeitso was the most powerful and most feared of the Inai. As the son of a woman and a stone, he was covered with valuable rocks and minerals, with turquoise around his neck, white shell on his shoulder, an agate disc on his head, and scaly flint armor like knives covering most of his body. He had a basket of lightning bolts and was so large that each of his steps stretched as far as a man could walk from sunrise to noon. He had been hunting Nyanesgani and his twin brother, Tobadzissani, since they were infants. But thankfully the twins were well hidden by their mothers, who hid the kids and told the giants that their footprints had been made by her in an effort to not be so lonely. As adults, the twins went after the giant, finding him drinking a lake dry in 4 gulps, and being so large that his body was above both the eastern and southern hills. The twins were spotted by the giant, who began to taunt them. They returned his taunts and soon made him furious. The giant threw lightning at them, but they were able to easily dodge while riding on a rainbow. They hit him with lightning of their own, which caused his armor to shatter, and the giant collapsed dead onto the ground. The twins scalped the giant and threw the head to the east, where it became the Cabezon Peak. Knowing that if his blood reached any of the other monsters he would be revived, the twins dug trenches, which explains the ridges and cliffs of volcanic rock near Cabezon Peak today. The Dene used his scales to make armor, knives, and arrowheads. Number 1. Skinwalkers. Moving away from the Dene, we have the most infamous of the Dene legends, the Skinwalker. Legend says that they are Dene medicine men and women who became corrupted by their power, and have developed the ability to shapeshift into the form of an animal. They take the form of monstrous bears, wolves, and coyotes, among other predators. They are almost impossible to kill, save for with a white ash-covered bullet. In order to become a Skinwalker, one must be inducted by a secret society, with the initiation being the committing of an extremely evil deed, such as killing a sibling or other family member. Upon completion, they are granted their transformation powers and wear the skins of the animals they transform into, hence the name. Sometimes they are also described as wearing animal skulls or antlers on their heads. This is why the Dene consider it taboo to wear the pelts of predatory animals. Other powers include the ability to possess and control people. They are known to engage in acts such as grave robbing and cannibalism, just to name some of the more tame acts. This creature has transcended indigenous folklore and has managed to make its way into the mainstream lexicon, having appeared in novels by Stephen King, episodes of The X-Files, and several episodes of the television program Supernatural. Although many creatures from folklore across the world are capable of indescribable destruction, few are as disturbing or interesting as the creatures featured in the legends of the Dene tribe. We'd like to thank abookofcreatures.com for providing much of the information and images sourced for this video. And as for you, are there any other countries or cultures whose folklore you would like to see explored? Leave a missive with your request in the comments below. The dark forces that run this dark dimension have asked that I remind you to like this video and subscribe to our channel, lest they be forced to send a Skinwalker after you as punishment. I'm off to perform a ritual that may help me escape from this lifeless void, but if it should fail, perhaps we will meet again soon, and I can regale you with more tales of the macabre and the disturbing here on Top 5 Scary Videos.